In the constantly changing world of fundability, the big question is this: how are entrepreneurs and real estate investors like us, ones who want to grow our businesses and who are tired of paying for really expensive alternative lending, how do we tap into the most inexpensive money available and do it without the hassle of typical borrowing? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. Welcome to the Get Fundable podcast with your host, Merrill Chandler.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so happy that you're back to the Get Fundable podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the black market use of identities, and especially how FICO is addressing this black market surveillance process that it does to protect our identities and to notify us if something's got a little bit hinky and what it actually means, because it isn't necessarily as dangerous as you might think. So when we come back, we'll get right to it. Now, in this episode, we are going to be talking about the FICO black market surveillance, right? And just like the title said, should we be worried? What does it mean? What is it all about? What is there something kind of hinky going on, or is it just a marketing ploy? Well, let's take a look at each one of these. So what do I mean by the black market surveillance? So FICO, and I'm going to share my screen right now and kind of give you an idea of some of the things that if you're subscribing to my FICO, you very well may get a version of this in your email. So let's take a look at this one right here. So let's take a look. This was sent to an individual. Actually, some of these were Sky, my producer. She got one of these, and it was a little bit worrisome for her until we went through this process, and that's what triggered the desire to do an entire podcast about it. Because there is once again, there's so much misinformation out there that I want you guys to know what is the actual truth. So we're going to say, dear so and so, we have detected your personal information listed on a black market website to be bought or sold. Okay, now so that can be in the dark web. It could be published in many of these sites are on like bulletin boards and subject like Reddit boards. I mean, they hide all over the net for people to be able to buy and sell information. But interestingly, there are two ways that this can impact you. Let me before we get to that, I want to show you the second type of email you might get from FICO. And same thing, your personal information is exposed. Hi, we monitor traffic on illegal websites on the dark web, and we found your personal information. Log in ASAP to find exactly what we found. So those are the two different types of notifications. Now, they may come in a different form because FICO is marketing a service to you. All right. So let's take a look at what you would get when you click on these sites. I'll pull these off and let's take a look at what the actual thing that you're going to get. Now, there's two directions. If you don't have anything, when you pull into my FICO, here's mine, for example. And of course, this is mine because I've done what it takes in building my personal borrower identity to limit its access to fraudsters. But notice, if I click on here, just like I said, view alert details now, when you click on mine, black market surveillance, as it says over here, and then notice, black market website scan. Congratulations, we did not find any results matching your personal information. That's awesome, right? Now, I'm a public figure. I'm addressing security breaches and personal borrower identity issues over and over and over. And yet, here we are. So far, so good. I certainly don't want to jinx it, but there is a reason. There is a reason why I have there's no information on the black market website surveillance system. All right. Now, The other way is, let's say you do have something. This was an individual. This is what happened when Sky pulled hers up. Here it is, 4/1 of 2020, black market web surveillance. We'll get into these overviews, but record creation date. A woman named Rebecca Diaz found her phone number, Sky's phone number, on the Facebook page of Rebecca Diaz. Now, after incessant grilling and interrogation, she doesn't know a Rebecca Diaz. So no, there wasn't that much grilling. But this is, so you might get a list of where something has been found, and Sky's phone number was associated with this user's Facebook page. So the question now is, what do we do about it? Well, when you click the alerts, there is just generic, but it's marketing language. What this alert means to you. This alert indicates that your personal information may have been listed on a black market website. It is important to take action fast to protect yourself from fraud and other identity crimes. Your regular myfico.com subscription has the best identity protection features that compared to any of the other identity protection, including some of the popular ones that are advertised over and over, right? It protects your identity and identity alerts. MyFICO, once again, I wished I were being paid to promote them, but MyFICO has the single greatest identity protection process, and it comes with your regular advanced subscription, the $29.95 subscription. Finally, the last thing, it gives you an opportunity for next steps. So let's pull up what the next steps would look like. Carefully review the information contained within the alert. And let's make this a little bit bigger. But so it's saying carefully review what's in what's in the alert, and what's in the alert in Sky's case was this one right here, right? So just carefully review it and pay attention to indications that your social security number, credit card numbers, bank account numbers, or PINs were found. Notice she only had, the only thing that was sideways on hers was her phone number, but no credit card numbers, no bank accounts, but you want to look for those. Depending on what the information was exposed, consider taking the following actions. Number one, if exposed information includes social security number, bank account numbers, credit card numbers, etc., or phone numbers, then notify third parties, review the financial information in the alert carefully, and notice any third parties that might be affected. So what they're saying is, if you have like in her case, if her phone number has been listed, then that phone number you need to check and or notify and put a note on creditors who use that phone number. Now, you and I know we've been building our PBID for the last 100 episodes, right? So what is so powerful about what we are doing is that if we make the bullseye, the fraud bullseye, smaller, tiny, 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 if we make one version of your name, one address, one phone number, one social, and one date of birth, if you only have one of everything, then it is extremely difficult, even if there was a complete breach. Let's say somebody got all 5 of those data sets, all 5 of them. The thing is that, as I've explained in several other episodes, every one of those data points have corollary information that are used as part of FICO Falcon fraud detection software, as well as comparing against all the databases, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, LexisNexis, etc. There are 2 parts. There's the information, the data points, and then how they're used. So we've talked about, but I want to reiterate because this is important. I want you to build your PBID, but I don't want you to be afraid of fraudsters. If something gets through the cracks, then of course there are ways to fix that. We even have some modules, some ebooks to help you do this, and we'll put those links in the written blog so that you can have access to those links. But those links are vital to be able to recover from or prevent identity theft. So we're going to include both those links in the written. So make sure you go to getfundablepodcast.com, and you'll get the identity recovery ebook and the identity protection ebook, free of charge. Just make sure you do what you can to protect your PBID after you develop it, and then we want you to make the necessary steps if you need to recover if something happens. But remember, and I always use this story, but this story is always important, always true. Let's stop the share so that I can have my heart to heart with you. For those of you who are watching, eyes on the prize, right? Those of you who are listening, remember that if somebody were to steal my wallet and get my driver's license, like yours, my middle name, yours likely has your middle name, Merrill Ray Chandler, if somebody tries to use my Merrill Ray Chandler, they go, oh, I got the address, I got the name, so I'm going to try to set up a fraudulent account. Well, there's not a single financial institution on this planet who I have a relationship with, and there are no databases, not LexisNexis, not Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Nobody has Merrill Ray on their database because I have built my PBID and it's bulletproof. So if somebody files a Merrill Ray Chandler application using any of my other data points, it will be rejected out of hand because it will be flagged as a fraudulent application. Because my PBID bullseye is so small that fraudsters are not going to be able to open up. And again, not to jinx anything, but I have never had fraudulent information opened up in my name, because I've been doing this a long time and I have built a bulletproof PBID. I want you to build a bulletproof PBID. So once again, we want you to establish the PBID data points, get as few as you possibly can listed by disputing them, etc. All my boot campers who got a gold level boot camp, you guys have all of those templates that literally are the dispute templates to isolate and create one version of your name, address, phone number, date of birth, and social security number. Finally, there are numerous other. The whole reason why FICO developed its fraud prevention software is there's a consortium of 9,000 banks that share application information. What this means is if I file a thing at U.S. Bank, and let's pick a random number, right? Let's say I make $10,000. I put $10,000 on my income. If a fraudster comes in and puts $8,000 or $15,000 or $12,000, it's going to get rejected, or it's going to go to manual underwriting because I'm too far off of what my most recent and previous application was. Do you understand where I am with this? There are so many data points because lenders' number one loss point in all the money that they invest, the number one loss is not you defaulting, it's fraudulent applications. So their commitment is the same as my commitment. They love the idea of a bulletproof PBID. They love it. And if you haven't gotten a copy of my book yet, I go through a very extensive review of developing your PBID point by point by point, and that's at getfundablebook.com. But just make sure you go to the blog version, the written version of this, and click on those links. We're giving you the identity protection and the identity recovery links free of charge. Just do everything you can, guys. Do everything you can to make this happen. You guys, that's it. Make your PBID the smallest possible bullseye, and it will become bulletproof. This is Merrill Chandler, your host of the Get Fundable podcast, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Get Fundable podcast. Please leave comments because Merrill would love to read about your aha moments from this episode. And be sure to visit getfundable.com to read our blog, get important links, join our community, and much, much more, like ordering Merrill's tell-all book that is changing the world, The New F Word. And you got to tell your friends about this podcast because we want them to get fundable too.